Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Saints minicamp going on. Good chance to catch up with Ross Jackson, Locked On Saints. Make sure you subscribe. Podcast, YouTube, Locked On Saints. How are you, dude?
Hey, dude, doing great. Thanks for having me on, man. Good to talk with you.
Always our pleasure. I want to start, I know everybody's talking about the quarterbacks and the offensive line. I'm really interested, man, about what's going to happen with this receiver room. I mean, Ross, I feel like there's two absolute stone-cold lead pipe locks, right? Like we know that Olave and Shaheed are in. After that, I have no idea how that's going to shake out. It's early. What's your best guess from what you've been able to see?
Yeah, as of right now, if I were to assume that they're keeping 5 or 6, right? That's typically the number you see on an NFL roster. The next guys behind Olave and Shaheed, and this is in no particular order, but would be, wide receiver A.T. Perry, who they drafted last year. And then the other two guys that I would put back there right now would probably be Cedric Wilson, who they brought in over the course of the offseason, signed him to a 2-year deal, played formerly with the Dallas Cowboys, Miami Dolphins, had a great year back in 2021, playing mostly out of the slot. I'll come back to that. And then I guess right now I'd probably maybe throw in like Equanimeous St. Brown as one of those guys that could be, a blocker, but also a big body contested catch guy for you. And everything else is going to come down to special teams. They brought in Russell Gage here over the course of the past couple of days for tryouts. He's a good special teams guy, but can also give you some production as a pass catcher. We haven't seen Stanley Morgan Jr. until today working off to the side, so we'll have to see if he's able to fight through that way. And they had an undrafted free agent as well come in Jermaine Jackson, amongst a couple of other undrafted free agents as well. But those are the guys that have stood out the most. So the ones that I would put on like a 5 wide receiver roster right now, in addition to Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, would be Perry Wilson and Equanimeous St. Brown for the time being. But we'll see if special teams kind of shuffles things around. And I think Wilson really serves as kind of a big slot guy, while the other two guys serve as kind of outside big body receivers.
What about Bub Means? Has he made any kind of an impression so far?
Yeah, and I'm just an idiot, Matt, and I forgot him. Yeah, absolutely. I'm just stupid. He's he's the other guy that absolutely would be up there as well. And the thing that's really exciting about Bub Means too is that like when he played in college, he was asked to run like 3 routes. I mean, he ran 9 routes all the way down the field, or what we call like go vertical routes, just run as fast as you can down the street. And then the other ones were kind of like these comebacks, working back towards the quarterback. That's kind of what he was asked to do for the most part. And he still put up over 700 receiving yards doing that with bad quarterback play. So he's one of those guys that really fits the mold of being that player that's better in the pros than he is, in college. So I would say that he would be another one of those guys that's jostling for either that 5th or 6th spot.
Do they have enough there, Ross?
I think so. I think so in terms of being able to like in terms of being able to hit your assignments, right? Like Chris Olave is going to be your number 1 guy who can also stretch the field. Now what's going to make them enough is the ways that they can contribute. They can't be one-trick ponies. Like, you can't be a guy that's only going to be able to win by turning on the burners and running, as fast as you can downfield, but you're also not going to be able to fill out that room with guys that are one note, then only contribute as blockers. And so I think you have to have guys that could do a little bit of everything. And so, Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, maybe you don't look at them and say, oh, they can do everything, right? Like Rashid Shaheed as a blocker maybe isn't necessarily what you're asking him to do. And Chris Olave, certainly it's not what you're asking him to do. But these other guys that are coming in and can kind of play the big slot role, can be the big man on the outside, be the contested catch guy, can be another field stretcher while also attacking the middle of the field, which A.T. Perry has done very, very well here over the course of minicamp, all that. And then, you get these other guys that might be able to come in and contribute a bit while also helping as blockers, particularly in this wide zone offense. You're going to see a lot of running around into the outside of tackles. You want to expand that offensive line as much as possible. So your slot receiver has got to be a big guy that can block, right? So if you're able to find guys that can contribute in a bunch of different ways, then maybe you're missing the name, the marquee type names, but you've got the guys that are able to help you run your system, and we've seen that in other offenses around the NFL as well.
Okay, Ross Jackson's with us on Twitter at Ross Jackson Nola. I saw the report from Nick Underhill about tight end Sal Cannella working out for the Saints. He was with the UFL. What do you know about him, and how might this fit or make sense?
Yeah, I think he's going to be a guy that's going to come in and get an opportunity to try out, and then we'll see where things go from there. I mean, obviously he had a great year. He looked good with the Breakers as well. He had a great year in the UFL. Like, has had some, has pulled up some big numbers and put up some good production and all those other things. I think he's a little bit of a bigger body than like a Dallin Holker, who the Saints, for instance, brought in as an undrafted free agent. But so he's able to contribute a little bit more in a way that's a little bit more multiple, right? Being a blocker, but also being a big-time threat as a pass catcher. But look, I think it's a steep hill to climb because you're really bringing somebody in right now because you're thin at the numbers when it comes to tight ends. And so hopefully he's able to turn that from an opportunity to come in and be a camp body and then maybe show something tomorrow to where he really gets the extended opportunity in training camp. So as of right now, I would kind of mitigate excitement around his projection unless he's a part of the team after this. And then that's where you can start to kind of look at, okay, where can he fit? Otherwise, he just kind of falls behind guys like Juwan Johnson, who hasn't been at minicamp so far, but also, Boss Moreau, who's been out there every day, and then guys like Dallin Holker, and then, of course, Taysom Hill contributes from that position as well. So it could be a little bit challenging to really see where he might be able to fit in at this time.
I guess, Ross, that was my big question with Kubiak coming in. And correct me if I'm wrong or if there's something I'm not seeing, but Kubiak's been a guy that's gone more prototypical tight end, which looks like Foster Moreau. Maybe not as much like Juwan Johnson or Taysom Hill. So I looked at this as like, are they trying to look for something that looks like a little more traditional prototype tight end at that spot to see something that fits, or am I just reading too much into that?
I think what it might be is, what other options do you have that check that box? And then how do you build depth out? So could that be that this is the guy that you're looking at and going, okay, so maybe he lands on the practice squad, and then that way if you're without your prototypical tight end, your typical inline true Y tight end, then is there a way for you to, do you have somebody you can turn to do that? But I would say that otherwise, guys like Juwan Johnson and Taysom Hill have roles for sure. It's just that it's not that true Y role that a Foster Moreau would be able to fit in. So there's certainly some logic to that. And there's other guys already in the building that kind of check those boxes. Tommy Hudson, Michael Jacobson as well, who's made a few plays over the course of minicamps and OTAs. And so I would kind of put all those guys kind of in the same pot as like, yeah, they check the prototypical tight end box, but I don't know that means that they land on an active roster more than it means that they have some opportunities to hang around or a practice squad in case there's a need to go to another guy if like a Foster Moreau can't go for any reason at a later time.
Ross, any observations, takeaways from Alvin Kamara being back on the field after missing OTAs?
Oh, man, today was really, really fun to watch. They actually ran kind of this simulated end-of-game drill to where the offense was simulating as if they were down 23-28. They were trying to score a touchdown to retake the lead with about a minute and a half left. And the first play was a screen pass to Alvin Kamara, which I feel like we haven't seen since like 2018. And then like three more passes to Taysom Hill in between that, including a nice catch and run. And then the final play was, we were kind of looking at it from behind the offense, so tough to get the yardage on it. But I'd say it was probably around 25, 30-ish yards, maybe 20 to 30 yards. What looked like a wheel route down the left sideline to Alvin Kamara, facing some pressure in Derek Carr's face. And so I would say that after seeing Alvin Kamara over the course of these last couple of days, this system feels like it's one that's putting him back into a position to where he can be the type of player that made him so beloved and made him a superstar in this league, and really utilizes him not only as, just kind of running in between the tackles, which are so often what he's been asked to do here as of late, but also getting him out on the outside, pitches, tosses, things like that. And then, of course, utilizing him in the passing game, which we saw worked out very effectively today.
Ross Jackson, Locked On Saints. Hey, before you go, Marshon Lattimore, I know we met with reporters. Look, his health's been an issue. How did he look? Any takeaways there from Lattimore?
Yeah, it looked really good yesterday. I mean, look, he showed up and he kind of got beat early on by Chris Olave, but then came back later on and was able to get a pass break up in the middle of the field and what was a 50-50 ball. He had an interception on Spencer Rattler today when he was targeting Bub Means. And, the thing that I've been most impressed about him is that every opportunity that he gets to be out on the field, he's been out on the field. So he's showing you that he's in football shape. He's got the conditioning. And certainly, I think it also shows a little bit of the dedication questions that people have been asking. He's not taking any reps off. He's out there putting in the work. So far, so good when it comes to Marshon Lattimore's return.
Locked On Saints, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts, make sure you're subscribed. And he's on Twitter at Ross Jackson Nola. Y'all give him a follow. Always appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Back at you, buddy. Take care. Stay safe. Talk to you soon.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.